Today we're hiking the Knife River and Upper Falls Loop just up the shore from Duluth, Minnesota. And what I loved about this trail is how it delivers right from the start and keeps on delivering until the very end. It's a loop style lollipop trail and it starts with river views leading to an even more impressive waterfall, and after walking along the river and through the woods you're going to end up on a rocky outcrop with sweeping views of Lake Superior and the North Shore woods. I loved how out in the wilderness this trail feels. So are you ready for some waterfalls, some fall overlooks of the North Shore, and some Knife River shipwreck stories? Let's go hiking. Before we get into the history and the shipwreck stories, let's first go over the trail stats. The trail is exactly 5 miles in length and it has 347 feet of elevation change. It's a lollipop style loop trail and it is rated moderate, and I would agree with that rating. Nothing too terribly difficult, just some roots and rocks, a little bit of elevation change, but an easy moderate. When I filmed this, it was mid-October, and according to all the leaf maps, we were past peak, but I still found it to be beautiful. There were vibrant reds and rich golds that you're going to see all throughout the video. So sure, some of the trees have dropped their leaves, but I think it's still worth going, even if they are so-called past peak. Okay, quick pause in the story. I'm usually a big leave no trace guy, but look at this absolutely adorable petting zoo out in the middle of the woods. I had to give him little scritchies because I didn't have any treats. All right, back to the story. People have lived along this river for thousands of years. The Ojibwe name is Mokaman Subi, which translates into Knife River. It's said the name comes from the tall, sharp rocks where the river meets Lake Superior. For the Ojibwe, fish, copper for tools, and steady natural resources made this a reliable place to live and trade. A seasonal village stood at Granite Point, today's west entrance to the harbor. From at least 1769 to about 1870, families moved with the seasons and traveled by river and lake. Fur trading came first. The French, then later the British, traded with the Ojibwe here for generations. And then, by 1834, the American Fur Company saw that fishing could out-earn furs. In the late 1830s, it was either 1837 or 1839, I wasn't able to verify exactly. So we'll say the late 1830s, the company set up a fish station at the Knife River. They supplied boats and fishing gear and relied on the local Ojibwe crews to do the actual fishing. Company schooners hauled the catch to Fond du Lac in western Duluth for processing. And in April of 1838, the company's schooner Madeline was crushed by pack ice at the river mouth. The first total loss American shipwreck on Lake Superior. And that's pretty interesting to have the, I guess, claim to tragedy, or is it claim to fame, of being the first American shipwreck on Lake Superior. But the Knife River does hold that accolade, or I guess anti-accolade, maybe? Sadly, this wouldn't be the only maritime tragedy in this location. The SS Benjamin Noble foundered off the Knife River in April of 1914 with the loss of all hands. I'm going to be doing an entire episode on the Benjamin Noble, so make sure you're subscribed so you can join us while we hike in the history of these shipwrecks. And real quick, comments are like digital trail magic to me. I love it when people share their own trail stories, so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You know the drill by now. The North Shore remained native land until the Treaty of La Pointe in 1854. And after the secession, prospectors searched for copper, gold, and silver, but only small finds turned up and the mining push faded by 1929. A settlement named Buchanan went up here in October of 1856, but it was a ghost town by 1859. A fishing village named Millie followed, and in 1903 the community adopted the name of Knife River. A pretty cool name, second only to Castle Danger. Scandinavian immigrants shaped the fishery. Many were recruited in the late 1800s, and with railroads and later refrigerated rail cars, North Shore fish reached distant markets, and we're going to talk more about the railroad's history of the Knife River later in the video. Alright, quick pause in the story because we're going to talk about the trail. Welcome to the Upper Falls. These are beautiful waterfalls, and you've walked along the Knife River this entire time and it's been exceptionally beautiful, but of course it just keeps adding on, and you get to see these beautiful waterfalls. Later on, after this waterfall, we're going to still get to see a scenic overlook. So that's what I meant earlier in the video when I said this trail just packs it in from start to finish. all the way along, just more payoff after payoff. So it's a great 5 miles. It's not a boring 5 miles, it's a beautiful 5 miles. By the early 1890s, Lake Superior supplied the bulk of America's herring. That's right, you heard me right. The bulk of America's herring. From 1902 until it sank in 1928, a steamer, America, made whistle stops from Duluth to what is now Thunder Bay to pick up fish along the shore. After the logging industry waned in 1919, many locals returned to fishing and built their own boats, leaning on skills passed down through their Scandinavian families. So fishing, more than any other industry, was actually really successful along the Knife River. More successful than mining, more successful than furs. This smoked fish turned a local catch into a regional product. Indigenous people first smoked fish to preserve it, sometimes flavoring it with maple sugar from trees on the ridge. Highway 61 later filled with smokehouses, and many still called Knife River the smoked fish capital of the North Shore. Fish cakes, which are ground herring with onions, eggs, milk, and secret spices, became a community staple and a fundraiser. Church crews would start at sunrise, fishermen would donate herring, and if fish cakes weren't your thing, meatballs were waiting. These proceeds helped build the Knife River Lutheran Church in 1927 and launched the Knife River Recreation Council in 1953, which opened ball courts and access to trails, agate beaches, and overlooks. In 1947, Knife River residents formed a cooperative and dug a harbor where the marina stands today, doing much of the work themselves. The harbor opened in the early 1950s, just as trout numbers crashed due to invasive sea lamprey, a parasitic eel-like fish. Unfortunate timing, but eventually, with lamprey control, an end to mining waste rock dumping, and careful management, the lake trout rebounded enough to support a modest commercial and sport fishing industry. In fact, herring boats still head out from the Knife River Marina. One boat became a local legend. In 1939, Hill Family Boat Builders in Larsmont built the 35-foot fish tug Crusader II for Carl Erickson of Knife River, white pine planking over oak ribs. That year, Crown Prince Olav of Norway visited, and when bad weather scrubbed a fishing trip, he toured the new tug and named it Crusader II. In November of 1939, Erickson used the tug to rescue his friend Isaac Jacobson, chopping him free from ice and thawing him by the coal stove. Isaac would not be lost at sea. After Erickson's death in 1957, the boat passed through several owners, went to the Lake County Historical Society in 1994, and was later returned to the Knife River, where it's now on display. Fishing wasn't the only industry in this area. Logging arrived in the 1870s. Crews rolled timber from 1 to 3 miles inland down Lake Superior and rafted it down to Duluth Mills. In May of 1898, the Algersmith Lumber Company built the Duluth and Northern Minnesota Railway, common carrier line that was open to public freight and passengers. This allowed harvested pine from St. Louis, Lake, and Cook counties to be moved by rail to sawmills in Duluth. As a result, the village grew fast. Knife River needed a depot, like a train depot. So, in December of 1899, the DNIR, the Duluth and Iron Range Railroad, moved its 1887 Lester Park Depot to Knife River on 2 flat cars. The depot handled passengers and freight. It offered telegraph and later phone services. It posted official Central Standard Time via Western Union, and it housed the very first post office. Algersmith logging ended in 1919, and the D&M rail line stopped carrying passengers in 1921. It lifted its roughly 100 miles of track in 1923, and passenger service at the Knife River Depot officially ended on July 15th of 1961. One thing worth mentioning is this trail does have 2 parking lots and 2 separate trailheads. I will leave the address for both in the comments. As you can see, it's well marked. There's red dots, so you'll know where you're at. And with both, you can see, of course, the waterfall and the overlook. And check out this tree at the second overlook. How old do you think this tree was? It's huge. Anyway, let's continue hiking. As I mentioned earlier in the video, they say that we are past peak fall colors. I'm gonna have to slightly disagree, and I have some video evidence to see. Some of these trees were just absolutely stunning, and they're kind of almost like a musician doing a solo, just standing out all on their own with big crimson reds or big bright golds. So yes, some of the leaves have fallen, but it was still a beautiful, beautiful, color-filled fall hike. In fact, we are coming up on a beautiful overlook where we're going to get some more fall color and sweeping views of Lake Superior. So I think it goes without saying, this is for sure a Tazumi Woods approved hike. It doesn't matter if you go clockwise or counterclockwise, the whole thing is beautiful. Alright, you're going to see this sign for the Overlook Spur Trail. You've got to take it. It's super short, it's not steep, and get ready because the views are absolutely worth it. In fact, I'm just going to be quiet and just sort of let the fall leaves and Lake Superior do the talking for me because this spur trail is absolutely a must-see part of this hike. It's always awe-inspiring and humbling to walk where people have been living and traveling to for centuries. Whether it was the original inhabitants, the Ojibwe, the people that came for the fur trade, for the logging industry, or for the railroads, or for the ever-dominant commercial fishing industry, one thing did remain a constant thread at Knife River. It started early, it adapted often, and this small but vibrant community continues today. I highly recommend that you get out and check out this hike. It is for sure a Tazumi Woods approved hike. You're gonna really feel like you're out in the wilderness. They do a wonderful job of maintaining the trail, although I do recommend that you bring a map. And yeah, that's it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I love hearing your woods stories in the comments, and we'll see everyone out there hiking in the woods. Bye-bye, y'all.